and burn.
Hey everybody. So tonight I am looking to discuss J.R. Hayes' 2012 short story, The Atheist. This was included as a part of the release for Pig Destroyer's 2012 album Bookburner. And before this, I think Natasha had a 6-page short story, if memory serves, and that was in the inlay for Terrifier, which was their follow-up to, oh my god, the absolutely perfect Prowler in the Yard. Personally, I didn't really love Terrifier. I felt like it was a little overproduced. But nevertheless, Natasha was a cool song, and Natasha was a cool short story. So they repeated that with this here. Now this is a 20-page short story penned by Hayes. And what this tells the story of is a former professor by the name of Andy. He once had a really good life, him and his wife Eileen and their bulldog Otto. He was a professor at some university, and he had the good life. Like they used to, well, wait, hang on. Now I can't remember if they used to ski or snowboard in Wisconsin, and they used to sunbathe in the Bermuda. And they knew they had a good life. And this is referenced directly in the story. But that's all over with now because of an incredibly charismatic and terrifying televangelist preacher by the name of John Hammer, Pastor John Hammer. And what he does is he convinces America to sort of take up more of a fundamental Christian reality. He wants them to embrace sort of old school biblical religion that is absolutely terrifying. And he does this by being what Hayes writes him as being the P.T. Barnum of Christianity. He would get on stage in these massive like giga churches that would have 500,000 seats, and there'd be light shows, and there'd be people dressed up like angels and demons, and there'd be car giveaways, and there would be celebrities, of course. You need celebrities to sell whatever it is. You know, that used to really work too, but the current crop of celebrities are just nothing now, so I just don't think it could work anymore. Because I think if it would have, I think Harris would have won the presidency, right? I think that would have happened because she had every celebrity on her side. But anyways, celebrities still matter in this world. And he's quietly, his company, like the Christians that work for him, are quietly buying up like corporations and buildings and whatnot behind the scenes and growing his financial clout daily, day by day. His organization gets stronger and stronger until one day he decides, he tells his people during one event that he wants to become president of the United States of America because Jesus told him he needs to do this. Jesus visited him the night before, yada, yada, yada. Now, you have to understand, this is pretty powerful. This guy's powerful. He's got a couple networks. Jesus has his own sports drink. One of the networks is very quickly, it becomes like the most trusted name in national news. The other network shows like Christian reality shows, things like that. And it's a huge hit with the majority of the American people. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he wins the presidency by like 78% or so. And then there are massive book burnings, of course. And libraries are completely destroyed, universities are gutted, and the education system is completely eradicated. And there is a terrifying new Christianity implemented in America where it's 12-hour workdays with 4 hours of prayer once you get home. Sex is strictly forbidden unless it's in front of a church physician. It's only supposed to be used for procreation. There is no more sexual pleasure other than, unfortunately, the kids that seem to be scouted out by the choir boys. Now, the choir boys are known as the most ruthless enforcers of Pastor Hammer, or President Hammer's beliefs. They're the people that will sort of make sure he rules with an iron fist. So these kids are selected to be tortured sexually and whatnot behind the scenes. So of course, like always, the people at the top can do whatever sick and depraved things they want while the rest of us suffer. Now, this story is so incredibly well written. Hayes is an incredibly talented guy. There's a baseball analogy at the start saying how, like, imagine if you hated baseball and how every time like you hear a ball, like the wood of the bat crack the ball, you get this sort of sick feeling in the back of your throat. And that is exactly how the dude here, Andy, who at this point, at the start of the story, is still happily married to his wife, Eileen, that's how he feels about religion. And of course, his wife, Eileen, sort of bends the knee because she doesn't want to die. So she converts. She was born Jewish, and I believe that was her faith growing up, of course. And she converts because she doesn't want to die, because the scary-ass choir boys and the book burners are everywhere, and they are maniacally ruthless. And so Andy goes off on his own. He's sort of this rogue dude now who's being hunted, assuming he gets found throughout his travels, throughout what's left of America. And the only thing left are these massive pilgrimages that rich people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for, to be whipped and destroyed by the choir boys as their, it's sort of like a crucifixion tour of sorts, where they play the part of Jesus and they're whipped mercilessly. You would think I would know how to speak. But anyways, and they're spit on and destroyed by the choir boys and the other people who are on this sort of crucifixion tour. And then you have this sort of, this is wild, because you have the Muslim bandits are in America and they're attempting to take down the Christian rule. And that's how at one point Andy ends up getting an RPG, because America, the roads of America have quickly devolved into sort of a Mad Max type situation, where the religious rule is absolute. But if you're caught out on the road alone, whoever is out there with you will probably kill and possibly eat you or whatever. And so Andy takes down a couple of these sort of Muslim bandits, and he gets their RPG. He uses that to destroy one of the crucifixion tours, saving this old dude in the process, who then leads Andy back to a place of pure salvation. And that's where, unfortunately, I feel that the story gets a little too convenient. Now, I imagine that that's most likely because of space constraints. Like, you know, the inlay for the booklet is only going to be so it's only going to be so big. So the 20 pages that were allotted to this were probably the maximum allowed, because otherwise I don't think the CD would have closed. So the story gets wrapped up a little too neatly. Him and Andy and the old dude, he takes them back to this facility where they have books and they have an endless amount of food, and Andy gets the opportunity to shower for the first time in months. He gets to shave off his beard, where he starts to feel like a man again, and he gets to take a hot shower. And all the while, they are very conveniently building a spaceship that's going to take them to another planet that mimics Earth, but of course it's free from the religious lunacy. And that's how the story ends. They're leaving in a couple days at 10 a.m. sharp. And again, the end is a little convenient. I get it, because I do believe that it was written that quickly. It was sort of like there's like a sense of hurriedness to the end. And I think that, again, is because that Hayes only had so much space. I would love to see this fleshed out more. This should be a movie, okay? Because I read this first back in 2012 when I got Bookburner, and it stayed with me all those years. Like, the choir boys were fucking terrifying. The one kid who's whipping the one kid who's whipping the rich guy, where the old guy's being carted off to be tortured and killed for a completely separate reason. He's not even 16. And he's completely psychotic, wearing this like scary ass like demon mask and shit. And there's so many elements of this story that have stayed so fresh in my head that even though I reread it for the sake of this video, I didn't really need to, because I remembered everything like I read it yesterday. And this is amazing. I really think this should have been fleshed out more. It's too bad that that'll most likely never happen, because like I said, this came out a little over 12 years ago. And that is such a waste, because this should be turned into a movie. This is amazing. The only complaint, again, is the end, but I think that had to be done. He could have fleshed this out to an easy 40, 50, 60 pages, but I just don't think he had the space. And that's where I'm going to leave it. This story is absolutely enthralling. I have put a link to the story that I found online in the description. I'll put some text up at the start too, so everybody knows at the start that if they want to go read it. I found it through like a Genius Lyrics site, I think. Doesn't matter. I'll put the link in the description so you can read the story. It doesn't take very long. And this is amazing, and it's absolutely terrifying. J.R. Hayes is one hell of a writer. And that's it. I am getting out of here. So like always, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I discuss J.R. Hayes' 2012 short story that accompanied the Pig Destroyer's album Bookburner, and that is The Atheist. Like always, if you like this review or you like this story, don't forget to go and do something nice for somebody. Remember, it's simple. Hold a door for somebody, or give $1 to charity, or randomly buy a lottery ticket for a stranger and give it to them if you've got real balls. Because my God, if they walk away with millions, you are going to have a hard time accepting that, most likely. But if you can do it, because it would be amazing. But like always, most importantly, never forget that the world is actually a better place because you are in it. I'm getting out of here. Have a good night.